Here are 3 interview tips for you all that are preparing for a player development interview. Number 1, listen. Listen, this is the biggest tip I give people. Listen, what I mean by listen, every person, be it a head coach, a general manager if you're on the pros, athletic director if you're interviewing on college, a president if you're on the pros, whatever it may be, every single one of them has an introductory press conference. And you want to listen to this press conference. Why? Because they're laying out what they want to do. They're laying out what the program or the franchise will look like. They're talking about productivity on the field, if it's football, or on the court, or productivity in competition would be the better way to use it. And they're talking about productivity in the community. They're going to bring up the community. You know, it happens all the time. Being in a player development role for 6 years at 3 different universities, whenever I had an interview, I always listened to the head coach's press conference because he was always going to talk about how the team was going to win. And he was always going to talk about how he wants to mold the young men of the football program and what he wants to do in the community. Now, when you get this is easy. I'm taking notes. Oh, you said this, you said that. And shout out to Alex Brown. I learned this from Alex Brown, who's the GM at SMU. Great mind, great personnel mind, and I'm excited to see his career continue to blow up. But I learned this from him because he was the first person, there was a head coach, and he was like, hey, you know, we kind of both were in transition. We knew we were going to be transitioning out at the University of Houston. And so we were kind of looking for our next stops. And he listened to a head coach and he said, hey, this head coach at his press conference spent about 5 to 6 minutes talking about community and athlete development and all this. And I was like, wow, that was just a boom moment for me. Like, oh, they're talking about it in a press conference. So I want you to listen. Now, in addition to listening to their main introductory press conference, you want to listen to the local beat writers. When they pull them to the side, they have interviews, right? Because the main introductory press conferences could be national, it could be different reporters from here, it's going to be local. But at the end, those local reporters are going to ask more questions because they know the program, they know the community. And so that's just a deeper dive into what the head coach or the administrator is saying. And they may ask a question like, what is your plan for the community? What have you thought about this? And once again, you're getting more information for yourself as you prepare for this interview. Now, what do you do with this information? You say, okay, I listen. What do I do with this? You write it down as you prepare to interview with this administrator. It could be a coach, once again, GM, president, athletic director, whatever it may be. You take this information and you're asking questions to see if it aligns. Was this just coach speak? Hey, everybody, I'm excited to be here. We're going to do great things in the community. Our GPA is going to go up. We're going to do this, right? Was it coach speech, you know, where you meet with him and you say, hey, hey, coach, what are you doing about this? I know you talked about this. What is the plan for that? And you hear, it's coach speak. Or you meet with them and you ask these questions and you find out that coach, he or she, according to which sport you're in, he or she truly means what they said. So listening is very important because you can get so much information to help you as you interview, specifically when they allow you to ask questions. And you can even hear when they're talking about the position, when they reach out to you or you apply and you get that first communication, you get to hear them talk about the position. Are we saying the same things that this coach said in the press conference? Are we saying the same things about the overall program that the athletic director said in the press conference? You get to see these things because you listen. I detail my 5 interviews in the player development role in this podcast here. The 5 lessons, the 5 things I learned in interviewing with 5 different head coaches at 3 universities. It is an incredible resource to you. Please check it out. You will find additional gems there. Well, hello. My name is Ed Jones. Welcome to the Player Development Pod. I am so excited that you are here. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be here with me. This is episode 3 of an 8-episode podcast series where we're talking about player development and the hiring season that player development is in right now. My goal is to equip you with information, knowledge, and wisdom from my time to help those who are in this season, who want to be in the role and who are thinking about getting in the role during this time where hiring is taking place. Number 2 tip you need to do when interviewing is research. And when I say research, I mean research. They're going to give you an interview itinerary with names. You're going to meet with this person, you're going to meet with this person, you're going to meet with this person, you're going to meet with this person. Whenever I got that, it was research time. And I'm researching the person, their role at the current place I'm interviewing, their other roles. Who do I know? I'm on LinkedIn. I'm looking on Twitter. I'm Googling to see if there's any podcasts they've been on YouTube. I am researching because I want to get as much information. Who am I connected to? LinkedIn may say, oh, you're connected with this person. Oh, they work with here, so they know somebody else. This happens to me all the time. I had a call the other day from someone that I know, asked me about a head coach who works somewhere else. So people doing their research, right? You want to know who's on the panel. Maybe there's something where you all can have a conversation of a common denominator or a congruency, right? Maybe y'all went to the same university. Maybe you're in the same sorority or fraternity. Maybe you're from the same area. Maybe you enjoy cheering for the same team. There's a lot there. I think people get so tight and bound on interviews that you still have to make it personal. They're people. Everyone has emotions. There's certain things that they go up and down. Maybe they've been a part of championship teams and they just have these memories and they were with great players. Hey, how was it to be a part of Florida when Tim Tebow was there? You never know. They tell stories, but you want to get all this research and try and find a common ground between you and the people who are interviewing you. Research it all. Research it all. Those who are on the staff, how the staff has grown. I even get to the point with football, I would go through media guides. So every program has a media guide and most of them are downloadable and most of them are PDF access. It's about 2007, I want to say. And so I will go back and be like, who was the last person in the role? Where did that person go? Did they have this role? Whatever it may be. What did this role do? So the last person in the role, what did their job description say? What did it say? Hey, so-and-so does this. Are they trying to change the role? You know, you can figure out why they're hiring the role. They'll tell you why they're hiring the role, they'll tell you, but you can do your research and understand this is why they're hiring the role. You know, I would reach out to people who have transitioned from that university or that franchise or from this coach or whatever, and just get the real. Someone you know, hey, what is it like? How is this person? How do they do things? How's the organization? How is the culture? But you need to do research. You need to do research. Now, I'll tell you about a time when not doing research bit me in the butt. There was this university that had a chief of staff position for their football team. And so I had never been the chief of staff, but it's something that I admired. I love the program development. I love having an opportunity to influence every single person in a program. And so I spent so much time preparing for this chief of staff and looking at, you know, the job description and comparing it to what I've done and then looking at what I haven't done and seeing how I could create a plan to, you know, do what I haven't done. And I'll talk about plan next. And so I spent so much time looking at the staff and who's been here and who's there. I got an interview and they asked me, they said, hey, tell us about what you know about the university. And I was like, ooh. Now I had prior knowledge of the university because they were in a conference of a school that I had been at, but that question stumped me because in preparing for that position, I spent so much time researching the staff, the position, the athletic department, I forgot to spend time on the university. So research everything. Now, if these two tips have helped you, y'all know what to do. Press that like button. And if you're new, subscribe. This podcast is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to how I've helped people in the interview space. I have a live cohort and we dive into this session very deeply. What I want to do is take what I've done in that course and provide it to you in a workshop. So this workshop is coming. It's the player development interview workshop. And if you have an interview coming up and you feel like you're not prepared, you want to prepare, this is for you. What you get out of it is an hour and a half or more workshop. You'll get a pre, post, and during blueprint. We'll talk about salary expectations. You'll leave with an interview template. You'll leave with an interview strategy plan. I'll give you customizable documents and you will get a one-on-one mock interview with me. So if you're interested in that, if you're like, man, that is what I need, the player development interview workshop is in the show notes. The information for it is in the show notes and it is for you. All right, number 3, plan. Plan. They're going to give you pain points. Remember, you're listening. You've listened to what's being said, right? You've done your research as you're talking to people. You're understanding why this role has happened. They're going to give you pain points. They're going to say certain things like, hey, man, we need this, or we needed somebody in this role because of this. This happened. This is it. And what you do is when you hear pain points, you don't go over them quickly. You ask another question. Man, our freshmen, we've had a struggle. We need mentorship because our freshmen, they just struggling with this transition. Stop them there. Hey, what is the biggest struggle they have? well, the biggest struggle they have is, we recruit out of state. And so we got all these different personalities and trying to get them to, whatever. All right. Then you say from that, all right, next question. How do the upperclassmen, how have they gelled when they're recruited out of state? So you ask questions, you just ask questions. I read a book by Dr. Myron Golden, it's called The Question Game. You keep asking questions because what you do is, if you keep asking questions with that pain point, they will literally give you the plan to create or give you enough to create a plan from there. So what you do is, if the number one thing is mentorship, and that's all they talk, every single person you talk to, at least there was one thing about mentorship, these freshmen or these new guys or these transfer portal, how do we mentor our players, right? Boom, you got that. You are talking about you are creating a mentor plan for your next interview. You say, hey, thank y'all so much. I'm gonna talk about what I can do in a role, but one thing I wanted to discuss, and I heard as a pain point from everybody brought up mentoring. And so, hey, here's something real quick. I got a quick plan. Boom, 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 boom. Here it is. Now, in your planning, I will say this. You don't have to give them everything. I almost made that mistake. Thank God I did not. I was gonna give a university an entire player development plan, and they didn't even take me to the next round. They would have took that, used it, and had a great time. So you don't want to give them everything you're gonna do, right? They got to pay you to do that, right? We got to pay people for the value they provide. But what you want to do is you give them a little bit, enough to get that conversation. When you're talking to the head coach, like, man, you know what? That's a good mentoring program, and we should do this and we should do that. And you're still writing it down. Come up with a plan. So you want to plan based off the pain points they have. You do not want to talk about something that they, in a sense, don't care about, that doesn't matter to them. I have done this. It does not work. My tip to you is to talk about the pain points. Talk about it. One of the pain points, I was interviewing with this professional team, and they kept talking about the pain points they have with their former players and how they separate. And I was like, oh, this is perfect. I've done this at the collegiate level, alumni engagement, restoring alumni. And so that's what I talked about. I talked about that. Other stuff in the position, if they brought it up, I would, but I wanted to talk about that. So when you're planning for the interview overall, maybe it's your introductory, you hear it, or you're getting ready for the on-campus, whatever, you want to make sure that you have a plan for the pain points that they have discussed. Those are my 3 tips. If you want more than that, the Player Development Workshop link is in the show notes. Let's get together. Let's make it happen. You will be prepared. All right, it's time for the tip of the week. And this week's tip of the week is to have weekly recruiting staff meetings. So if you're in the collegiate space and you're talking about whatever sport you're with, you're going to have to recruit. And what I did, thankfully, shout out to all the people I work with in recruiting. If I name names, I feel like I'm gonna miss somebody, so I don't want to do it. But what I would do is have weekly meetings. So if we had junior days, or someone was coming on campus, official visits, unofficial visits, or they're talking to kids, I just wanted to have meetings with them. Hey, I see that we offer this kid. What do we know about this kid off the field? What is this kid interested in? Hey, with this junior day, what do y'all want me to do? Do y'all want me to give a presentation? Do I need to do that, or do I need to do a one-on-one in the office with a parent and a player? Whatever it is, you want to meet with your recruiting staff. It's really, really big. That was big to me, to meet with the recruiting staff. I never wanted them to think that it was player development and it was just them. I wanted them to know that, hey, I want to help the cause. I want to help y'all, because I can't serve 120 players if y'all don't get them here. And so meeting weekly with the recruiting staff is very, very beneficial, because you understand what's asked of you. And you get to listen. You get to listen to these visits, and you get to say, okay, this is what y'all are doing for this kid. Y'all taking this kid to this college. So if this kid's interested in this college or this major, let me connect. Let me see if we have a alumni in the city that does this career or whatever it may be, or you're listening. What I've done sometimes is, man, we need, I've just been around to help with parents, just to talk. Hey, I can just talk to the parents. Or, hey, Ed, we got a 15-minute slot here. Yep, I got you. I'll do a quick presentation. It is what it is. Or if they just need somebody, you need somebody to drive somebody to, hey, get on the cart, and hey, we need somebody to run somebody to the students union because we have to go get this other kid from the other side. Cool. That's good for me, because now I'm getting one-on-one time with the athlete and their family. So these weekly recruiting meetings were good for me, because I was able to be a part of the team and see what we were doing as a program. And it eliminated me getting hit from the side or blindsided by a request that would have knocked me off my schedule. So I knew early on, this is what could happen. Let me free this up, rather than me having something with a player scheduled and then, hey, can you do this? And then me getting frustrated. I was proactive and just met with the recruiting staff. And so shout out to the recruiting staffs I work with. Shout out to the recruiting staffs that are out there. Player development and recruiting could work really, really well. Me and my guy, Alex Brown, man, oh man, Alex, we did a great job. I know I talked about him earlier. I need to bring him on the podcast. He had me on 2 of his podcasts. Or 2 episodes of his podcast, which I'll put in the show notes. So you kind of hear how we work together. I need to bring him on. Alex, I'm going to bring you on. But that's my tip of the week. Check out the player development resources in the show notes. There's courses for you, self-paced. I have a live cohort that's about to begin in February. There's books. Please subscribe to the player development newsletter. You know, a lot of resources for you. I want you to do well in this role and beyond. Well, you know what I'm about to say. Go out and create generational impact. Don't wait. Create that generational impact today. Today. And if you're interviewing, good luck to you. Let me know if you got the position.